and with one another. Today, you are giving yourselves to one another to love and to live, and you've invited those gathered here to share in one of life's greatest moments. By your presence here as their guests, you are demonstrating your support and encouragement for this couple as they unite in marriage. Marriage is a covenant of love. It calls for respect, esteem, and concern, for comfort in trouble, for joy in achievement, for mutuality in all things. This love, which is represented here between you two today, is always patient and kind, and looks for ways of being constructive. It respects the individuality of each person in the marriage relationship. Love knows no limit to its endurance. There is no end to its trust, no fading of its hope. It can outlast anything. Indeed, it is the one thing that still stands when all else has fallen. But I feel like you guys already know this, right? I mean, you've been together for a very long time. And you've faced so much as a couple already. So when I met them, I had to ask them, why are we doing this? What does marriage mean to you? And Kristin answered, saying, marriage is a bond that you get to share with one person in your life. That one person who's your best friend and comedian. A bond to spend your whole life with, that entire roller coaster of life. And Joel said marriage means family. This is the official recognition that she's family. She is the one, and now it's official. And we're starting our own family together today. Indeed you are. And that is surely something to celebrate. Their journey to this moment started quite some time ago. Kristin and Joel first met in grade 7. But they were just friends. I'm sure a lot of you heard that for a lot of relationships. They didn't actually start dating until 2015. I asked them to think back to that time in their lives, and it was a while ago, so that they could share with me about when they first fell in love with each other. For Joel, there was a very clear memory of when he fell for you, Kristin. He said, I fell in love with Kristin on one of our usual drinking nights at the bar. And of course, our friends were there, and we were all over the dance floor. And out of nowhere, me and Kristin started a dance battle. Like no one else was there, and we were in our own world. And from that moment on, I knew I was in love. But Kristin's answer was a little more complicated. And long. She said, I fell in love with Joel gradually. We first would have met back in middle school, but we never knew each other that well back then. And when I finished college, I moved back to the area where we had both grown up. I had been in a not-so-great relationship, and I was totally fed up with guys. So I was taking the time to figure out myself out and what I wanted in life. And through this path, one of the things I was finding that was really helpful was spending time with my friends and to start enjoying life again. She continued, saying my very close friend Amanda was dating Stevie. And so wouldn't you know it, Joel was at many of these outings. Joel knew that I was going through a hard time though, and he was the most supportive friend I could have imagined. He was easy to talk to, and really just the perfect gentleman. He also knew that I didn't want to be in a relationship at all. So I found that I never really had any reason to try and impress him. I could literally just be myself. So we started to become more comfortable as friends and started texting if we were going to be at the same parties or events. And then we started to hang out on our own. And then I was being invited to family dinners, even Christmas Eve, she said, just as a friend. Our friends used to give us a hard time, asking us if we were dating or what. Now, I knew that I liked him at this point, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to be in a relationship. And then I broke my foot. Some people have to get hit by a bus. She said, this is where I think my feelings really started to become impossible to ignore, because Joel made sure that I got outside every single day. It didn't matter if it was rainy, snowy, sunny, icy. It was January at the time, so all that was possible. He would come to pick me up and take me for a drive to get me a coffee or to simply get me out of the house. He would open car doors for me, and he treated me as though I was a near princess. And this is when I started to see how deeply he cared for me. And I thought to myself for the first time, what the heck am I doing? This guy is amazing. So So me being stubborn and Joel being persistent, a few months later we started to finally get it go and we were officially dating. It's a wonderful story.
That was a really fun one, I'm sorry.
Everybody loved it. Yeah. So then I asked them to tell me about when they knew they had found the one in each other. Kristin said, I cannot pinpoint a specific aha moment of knowing that he was the one. I think it was a realization of just how lucky I am, and I can't live without this amazing man by myself. While Joel shared, I think the day I knew she was the one was the first time we went camping with her sister and her family. They had Marley at the time. Marley was very young, maybe 1 or 2, and me and Kristin spent most of our time playing with Marley, while Jen and Zach did all of the adult stuff around here. I remember looking over and seeing Kristin with her niece, and they were playing and looking around the campsite, and I said to myself, this is the life I want. And Kristin is the person that I want to share these moments with. And I knew at that moment, one day, when the time was right, I would propose with the very same people around us. And exactly as he envisioned on that day, on September 12th, 2020, at a family dinner, he tricked Kristin into coming outside by saying that they were going to go golfing. And with the family all watching and Kristin totally shocked, he popped the question, which brings us here today. Kristin said that she knows to make their marriage work is going to take hard work and love and staying loyal and caring towards one another. Joel said it's important to know that every day isn't going to be perfect, but knowing that we are going to get through it together. I asked them both to tell me how they keep their spark going after so many years together. Joel said, we stop and laugh at the little things. We laugh at the littlest of things, and we laugh uncomfortably. Also, the number one rule, he said, is to kiss each other before bed and to never go to sleep mad at each other. Kristin said, we make time for us, and we work on us. Date nights and communication are huge for us. And she said that Joel is actually the complete opposite of me, and he's so spontaneous, so I think he keeps things way more interesting than I. She told me about a pool, a little inflatable pool. I asked them to share just one more thing. I wanted to know what their favorite memory has been of their life together so far. And they both commented that it was really hard to choose because there have been so many. In the end, Kristin said, when it comes down to it, and this may be cheesy, but I honestly think it's when we laugh so hard that our faces hurt. Or when we high-five after completing a task together. It's the little things like that that make my heart flutter still. And Joel shared, my favorite memory so far would be the first night that we spent in our first house. We were so excited to move in. We slept on a mattress on the floor with a small TV on a box full of clothes. There was no internet, no TV. We just watched Netflix from the phone. But at that moment, it felt like we had made it together in life and that the real adventure was about to start. My friends, what we have here are two people whose lives and values and goals have grown beautifully together. They truly enjoy living their lives together, and to me, that is the very definition of a perfect partnership. You have known each other from the first glance of acquaintance to this point of commitment. And at some point along the way, you decided to marry. From that moment of yes to this moment of yes, indeed, you have been making promises and agreements in informal ways. All those conversations that were held riding in a car or over a meal or during long walks. All those sentences that began with, when we're married, and continued with, I will, and you will, and we will. All those late night talks that included someday, and somehow, and ooh, maybe. And all those promises that are unspoken matters of the heart. All these common things and more are the real process of a wedding. The symbolic vows that you're about to make are a way of saying to one another, you know all those things we promised and hoped and dreamed? Well, I meant it all, every word. So look at one another now and remember this moment in time. Before this moment, you have been many things to one another. Acquaintance, friend, companion, lover, dancing partner, and even teacher, for you've learned much from one another over these last few years. But now you will say a few words that will take you across a threshold of life, and things will never quite be the same between you. For after these vows, you will say to the world, "This is my husband. This is my wife." And so, are you ready? Shall we do it? I'll invite you. Hang on, we gotta do something first. We gotta do something first. Joel, do you take Kristin to be your wife, to live together as friend and mate, to love her as a person, respect her as an equal, sharing joy as well as sorrow, triumph as well as defeat, and keep her beside you as long as you both shall live? Kristin, do you take Joel to be your husband, to live together as friend and mate, to love him as a person, respect him as an equal, sharing joy as well as sorrow, triumph as well as defeat, and keep him beside you as long as you both shall live? Joel and Kristin have chosen to write their own vows to each other today. And so now, Joel, this is the time.
Probably be better. Not a good public speaker, so here we go. Kristin, you're my partner in crime, my best friend, and the owner of my heart. From the moment we met and I saw you tear up that dance floor, I fell in love. Your love for family and friends has changed me as a person and makes me strive to be a better man for you. From our late night giggles to our cuddles with Bo, your love has shown me that we are already a family. So on that note, I would like to share with you what I vow our life will be like. I vow to make sure you feel loved every day and to support you through the good days, bad ones, even on football Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays. I vow to create a life with you where every day will be an adventure, from camping weekends with the family to simply having a water gun fight in the backyard. I vow to take you on trips and to travel the world country by country, and no matter the size of our family, I promise the love I have for you will always be the same. I vow to listen to you and always take your feelings into account, and even when I know you're wrong, you're still right. For better or worse, in sickness and in health, I promise to be your 6-foot-tall, skinny rock that will never leave your side. And I will always be prepared to support the weight of the world for you. I promise to love you forever and always, and just know you will always have the key in my heart. Kristin, I love you.
Joel, you are my best friend, my rock, my everything. You wear your heart on your sleeve, and love with no hesitation or restriction. You give me strength and reassurance on the hard days, and you make sure to embrace and celebrate the good days. I love that you remind me that there is sunshine after every storm, but it's also okay to just dance in the rain. I love that you're loyal to your family and friends and are known as someone who will always be there if anyone is in need. I love that you're spontaneous and loud, all while being my protector and my safe retreat. These are only a few of your qualities that made me, the most indecisive person, able to make the easiest decision in my life when you asked me to marry you. I'm grateful for all of the years we have grown to know small things about one another, and for that, this is what I vow to continue to do. I vow that I will always tell you my feelings towards your questionable driving skills. I vow to support you through each football and hockey season, for your dear Cincinnati Bengals and Toronto Maple Leafs. May I always be the one to inform you that there is next year. I vow to be your dictionary for very hard words, but even more often for very simple words. I vow to consider if I'm actually upset or if I'm just hungry. And I vow that when telling a story, I will try my absolute hardest to get to the point. And on that note, for the years going forward, I vow to honor, trust, and respect one another. I vow to be a good friend and listener and to bring laughter and happiness into our marriage. I vow that during both the tough times and the comfortable times that we learn and grow as a team, and I vow to build a family and life full of unconditional love and support. I can't wait to see what this crazy adventure called life has in store for us, and to say that I'm proud to be doing that by your side as your wife is an understatement. Joseph Odin, I have regrets. I love you today, I will love you tomorrow, and I vow to love you deeply and endlessly.
May I have the rings, please? Sometimes when a couple choose to get married, it's because they share a love so strong that they want to represent themselves to each other through a ring. These rings become physical symbols that all the love and respect and the desire to share a life together is so strong that it becomes the desire to give each other your life, your love, your everything. In these cases, the rings are a symbol that you trust all that you are to the other. It's not a question of will you give yourself to me, but rather will you accept all that I am.
Kristin, I give you this ring. Wear it with love and joy. As this ring has no end, neither should my love to you. I choose you to be my wife, to stay in forevermore.
Joel, I give you this ring. Wear it with love and joy. As this ring has no end, neither shall my love for you. I choose you to be my husband, this day and forevermore.
Kristin and Joel, now that you have shared with each other these words of love and commitment, and we have witnessed the expression of your love as you've shared your rings and your vows, you've joined your hands, your hearts, and your families before those gathered here today, and therefore it is with great joy that I pronounce you husband and wife. You may now kiss your bride.
Security says, do we have to discuss this?